there's hardly anything more satisfying than boldly stepping in and finding our own healing and helping others with the same. Karl Humiston, MD, psychiatrist, holistic medicine, retired from that in my 60s, and now, ever since then, I'm 88 now, I'm still working as a Rolfer, restoring people to their original organization. In the early transition, when I was still working as a psychiatrist, I could see that people needed to shift their focus of attention from thinking to sensing, from thoughts to body. Now, how do I get people to do that? They don't particularly want to. If they wanted to, they would have. But many people grow up where it doesn't feel safe to feel as a little child, and that's hard to get over that. And so that's what I did. I came in as another parent saying it's okay now, and people would generally go ahead and do it as long as I was sitting by them, because that makes a huge difference. The little kid is scared to go in the water. Mommy takes him by the hand. Here, put your foot in the water. That's right. She's with him. It feels safe enough to do it. And that's the way it works at all ages. Anyway, I tried all kinds of things, and I came up with one thing that worked better than anything else. I put to a person the question, because what I wanted was a consciously experienced shift. So I would say to them, tell me where you feel something. What place in your body do you find a noticeable physical sensation inside your head, throat, chest, belly, someplace? Heavy or light, loose or tight, hot, cold, full, empty, pressure, electric, vibrating. Not like sadness or love or anger, but a physical sensation. This is a question that cannot be answered by thinking. It can be answered only by sensing in your body. And it cannot be faked. Only once did I ever see somebody try to fake it. Tell me where you feel something, and the man said, in my heart. Oh. I said, tell me where you feel. Tell me what you feel in your heart. Hate. Point to where you feel the hate in your heart. Well, heart feelings, I happen to know, are in the middle. That's medical. I said, okay, describe the feeling of hate that you feel there in your heart. And he paused and he said quietly, he said, I feel tight in my throat. It can't be faked. And I took upon myself to do a special project years later when we lived in Albany, Oregon. I got a notice from the church of a conference in Salt Lake City, and we were absolutely broke then. But I managed to get there on the bus. Instead of staying in a motel, I slept on the bus. Took an overnight bus from Portland to Salt Lake and attended the conference, one-day conference, and then came back that night on the next bus. It had to do with problems of sexuality. And I picked up some awareness there that was like mind-blowing. And I thought, it was like the promptings that led me to meet my wife, Bonnie. This is a prompting. I have to go to that conference. I have to go. Something told me, you're going to go to that conference. And then the same prompting told me, this is for working with convicted sex offenders. What you have now in your head is for them. So I went to probation and parole because the men who are in the community paroled from prison or on probation are under their supervision, and they can't do anything without their permission, particularly something like this. So I set up a weekly class. They were suspicious of me because they knew I was different, which is true, I was. And but I found out that they had a group of men that had been court-ordered by the judge to get treatment in the community, but had not done so because they had no money. And the professionals that were doing the treatment demanded a lot of money. There was a captive audience, and they really didn't do that much good. I mean, I had enough years inside the mental health field as a professional to know what's there. And this is not there, what I was doing. So I can ask anyone that says, have you ever spoken carelessly or unkindly to a friend or family member? Say yes. Of course. And then felt bad here in your tummy in a way that said, oh, I wish I hadn't said that. You know what I'm talking about. Not one of these men, and I saw about 20 of them during that year, could recall having ever felt that feeling. You cannot be a sex offender if you feel that feeling. It won't let you. So I did a Gestalt therapy group in the technique style of Fritz Perls. I would have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 men in the room at a time, once a week for an hour and a half. If they paid me, they paid me. If they didn't, they didn't. I collected a little money from it, but not much. But I ran it for a year. 6 of the men of the 20 stayed with me most of that year and were healed permanently, profoundly healed. They all stopped drinking. Their marriages all got much better. They no longer got mad at the boss when he yelled at them. Their lives changed, and they no longer felt like the scum of the earth. They felt like decent people now. They were very grateful. But that's 6 out of the 20. So what did I do that the others weren't willing to stick with? I taught them one skill only, over and over and over. Each man one at a time, in the presence of the group, which is a powerful way to teach and learn. Handed each man a clipboard with a piece of paper each week, and a section that said problems of the week. And they'd write no problems this week. Well, come on, whoever had a whole week with no problems? So maybe it was the boss would yell at him and he just had the strongest urge to punch the boss in the face. So I'd say, okay, be there now. Your boss is yelling. You see his face, you hear his voice. Let it be endless. Don't fight it. Just let it into you. Keep looking, keep listening, and keep feeling. Keep noticing where you feel so that you can let all of it into your body and absorb all that energy into you. And it would take less than a minute for them to feel at peace. And eventually they'd come in and they'd say, you know, my boss yelled at me this week. It didn't bother me. It doesn't bother me anymore. Well, anyway, I'd say if they had said on their clipboard, no problems this week, I would say, go to a time this week when you had a problem. And they'd go, and I'd say, okay, be there. Where is your attention focused? Okay, let that be endless. Point to where you feel something. Tell me where you feel something. Just let it be endless. Let it keep coming in, sink deeper, spread, absorb into your body. And guess what the commonest problem of the week was? Getting stuck behind a slow driver.